Hello, beautiful people. I hope all is well. I hope all is well. So, this is actually a special edition of Going Live with Align with Alison. I normally don't go live on Fridays. However, I have something special that I want to share with all of you. And so, as a result, I had to come on not during my normally scheduled programming. So, welcome, Bianca. Welcome, Mr. Banks, thank you for joining. Thank you for joining. Genuinely, I got that wrong. Don't kill me. Chrissy, welcome for joining. Thank you, everyone who is joining the live stream today. Sweetie, welcome. Thank you. And please go ahead and share this live stream with anyone who you think can benefit. Hi, Get Fit with Tiff. How are you? Welcome. Appreciate you. Please go ahead and share this live stream with anyone who you think can benefit. Okay. So if you are new to my page, my name is Alison. I am a certified dating and relationship coach, and I primarily work with singles to help them get through heartbreak or the frustration of the dating scene. But today's particular topic and what we're talking about really has more to do with a subsection of the community who have reached out on multiple occasions and have asked for my help. I'm especially talking to my folks who are divorcees, and I am specifically talking to my folks who are parents. So I'm talking to my parents today. I'm talking to my divorcees today because this subsection of the community, they are, I think, probably the group that struggles the most in regards to dating and getting back on the scene. They struggle the most in deciding who's the right match for them because they have so much more to lose. I saw a Facebook post that said, it's ironic that single moms are more selective than women that have all of these great things going for them. And, you have a good job, you're beautiful, you're this, you're that, you're whatever, you're educated. And so, in essence, what the post was insinuating is that a single mom is a lower value, and then you have women who are quote-unquote a higher value. And so how could the women with the supposed lower value by being a mom have the audacity to have higher standards or expectations in comparison to women who are this high value woman, however you define it? I hate that phrase. You guys will hardly ever hear me say that phrase, because what's valuable to one may not be valuable to others, right? But that's what the Facebook status was insinuating. And I read the comments before I responded because I actually read. Y'all need, maybe not y'all, but y'all peoples need to do a better job. Y'all don't be reading. So I read first before responding. And a lot of folks already covered what I was going to say. And a man said very eloquently, it was a gentleman. This man said, well, they have more to lose. Because if they choose the wrong person, it's not only their own life that they are disrupting, but they're potentially disrupting the life of the future, their child, right? And so it's not about who's quote unquote low value or high value, but it's about who's higher risk and lower risk. And so if you are a single parent and you are back on the dating scene, you have more to lose. You have more to risk as a single parent who is the primary caretaker of this child, and being very selective as to who you allow back into your life, because it's not only your life, it's also the life of this child. In comparison to a single woman who supposedly is high value, she's beautiful, she's educated, she's doing well for herself, it's only herself that she's risking, so to speak, right? So whoever she allows in her life, it's her own. That's her business. She's grown, she's made a choice. If it goes well, great. If it doesn't go so well, then hopefully she's able to recoup and move forward. But when you're talking about a single parent who's going back on the dating scene, it's so much more risky for them because it's not only their life. They made a choice in the matter of who they date and who they allow back into their home, right, and into their bed. But it's not only their life that's impacted, it's also the person who did not have a choice, which is their child or their children. And I thought that was so eloquently said. And as I said before, it was said by a man. Right? So, I love when men say things like this, because many times I think the presumption is, and you know me, I try not to be biased, but the presumption is many times that a woman's opinion is automatically going to be biased just because she's a woman, and a man's opinion is automatically going to be biased just because he's a man, and that neither gender or no gender has the ability to be unbiased. which is just absolutely not true. So I love when men say just such bright and reasonable things, because my impression is and my hope is that their word is going to be more value than me saying the same thing, because it's going to be, she's just saying that because she's a woman. Does that make sense? On my last note about that, I also put up a post today. I got to tell y'all I was mad. I got to tell y'all I was mad. So this morning I found a post of a gentleman. His name is, I don't want to get it wrong, Ace Metaphor. That's his name, Ace Metaphor. And in 59 seconds, he said what I've been telling y'all for a year and a half. I don't want you to click off. I want you to check it out once I'm done, right? So this gentleman eloquently said in 59 seconds what I've been saying for a year and a half. And in the caption that nobody reads, because nobody reads captions, rolls eyes, I said that you guys are going to listen to him because it's a man who's saying it. Even though I've been telling y'all forever, right? The same thing, but nah, because the dude said it's going to be magical. So I've had some posts that have been shared on multiple pages. One page that shares my post, and we have a great relationship, is called Black Love Bible, right? Black Love, obviously, and Bible because it has a more religious spin or element to the page, right? And so the woman who runs the page, her name is Autumn. She posts me all the time. And one of the things that I posted that she shared said my tagline, that I help singles, not women, I help singles find the partner they deserve. I help singles find the partner they deserve, right? Of course, folks don't read, and they read that as women, right? I help women find the partner they deserve. So you know these Christians, I'm a Christian woman, these Christians, you know what they quick to say? Well, the Bible says he who finds a wife finds a good thing. So why is it that I have to be out looking? Because the Bible says he who finds a wife finds a good thing, not she who finds a husband finds a good thing. Okay. I get this all the time, right? So this is the first piece, right? We got to be very particular about using scripture when we want to, when we think it fits a particular narrative, and that narrative is a narrative of laziness. We got to be really particular about us using scripture to fit a narrative when our narrative is laziness, right? And so he who finds a wife finds a good thing does not mean, therefore, women should do nothing, sit back, and expect men to find them and put in absolutely no work in order to become better versions of themselves. They should put in no work to be social. They should put in no work to have conversations and to build relationships with people. And I don't know what King James Version y'all read, but there's nothing that says he who finds a wife finds a good thing, so women do nothing and chill. I didn't hear the second half. I never heard that part, right? It does not mean that a woman should not be putting effort forward to become the best version of herself so that she can attract the kind of partner that she wants, so that she has the ability to reject the types of men and the strength and the fortitude to reject the types of men that they don't want, right? Like, that doesn't mean that. What it means is that he who finds a wife, a good woman, has found a good thing. It also doesn't mean that she who finds a husband hasn't found a good thing either. It doesn't automatically mean that. So we have to be very mindful about how we use scripture, and using scripture in a way that insinuates that men should do all the work and all women have to do is sit back and be pretty and accept their advances and choose as they see fit. This is about to be 2022, beautiful people. Like, we have to make an effort in order to present and be the best versions of ourselves for everybody and everything. This isn't a one-sided stuff. Like, I don't know in what world we live in, and this is not biblical times, by the way. So you have to interpret and keep it in context. We have to be mindful about being the best version of ourselves for everyone that we show up for. Not only, obviously, for ourselves, but then for every other relationship, not only romantic, right? And so this idea of just be pretty and sit back and things will just fall into place. I don't know what world y'all live in, but in my world, I have to fight and work for everything that I have. Everything. The only thing I haven't had to fight and work for is the beautification that you see right here. And even that is amplified, right? Like, got my hair done, do my lashes, do my eyebrows. Like, we have to put in effort for everything. So this idea of he who finds a wife finds a good thing, ergo women should put in no effort whatsoever, is a lazy spin and an excuse that women use not to put their best foot forward to become the best versions of themselves, as well as to be active and social, go places, be on dating apps, create profiles that are attractive, and not only just your looks, right, but just attractive in general, so that you can start dating. I think our guest is here, so I'm going to welcome our guest. Thank you guys for allowing my spiel to spiel. Hey, hey.
Hey.
Hi.
Hello, lovely ladies. I'm so happy to see you.
Hey, we're happy to see you too.
Yes. I just went off on a spiel waiting for you guys, so I apologize.
No, that was
Yeah,
good.
it was good.
I was like, yeah, somebody needed to say that was so, people don't always like that message, but it is so real.
Yes. So let's give you guys an opportunity to share who you are. I know who you are because you guys are trailblazers in our industry, but an opportunity to share who you are, where you're from, and let's get to it.
All right, I'll go first. I'm Dr. Kia. I'm one of the relationship boosters. I am a therapist, so I work with couples and singles in the DC, Maryland area, and then also do relationship coaching. So I love to help people to have the best relationship possible. Bottom line, that's what it's about.
And I'm Monica. I'm also a relationship boosters. I am a therapist and coach here in the Maryland, DC area, and been doing this for a while. Private practice, working with relationships, working with couples, and then moving more into the coaching arena because not everybody needs therapy. So we appreciate also being able to give advice and give educational tips and things like that to people who are in relationships and even singles who don't necessarily need that deep dive into therapy.
Excellent. And I'm so glad that you led with that, Monica, because I find myself having to describe and explain the difference between coaching and therapy. One of the things that I do when I have a discovery call is I do an analysis to figure out, does this person need coaching or therapy, right? And if they need therapy, then I recommend you guys, or I recommend some other therapists who may be in their city. So can we start with that, Monica? Can you give us a description or a definition? What is really the difference between therapy and coaching?
So I think with therapy, and we do the assessment, too. When people call in, we talk with them about what their needs are and what they're looking for. And so it's really good to do that discovery call because within that time frame, you're able to identify, are these really deep-seated issues that the couple is calling about or the individual is calling about. We're able to talk about some of the basics of what the issues are. And then a lot of times the clients will tell us, no, we need to really go deeper. We need to be on your couch, get the assessment, because we do a very intensive assessment process at the beginning of our couples therapy work with the couple. And so there's that piece. And then from there, we're able to identify what their specific goals are going to be. We get a lot into maybe some mental health stuff, some of the background with that. Whereas with coaching, I think Kia can kind of chime in on this, it's not as intensive, but you are still able to get an assessment and really follow through on working through whatever those specific issues are that are causing problems in the relationship, whether it's communication, or, how to structure your relationship around all the stress that you may be dealing with, intimacy, different things like that.
Yeah, I would say, Carol Ann, she tried to come live, but through the Black Marriage Week page, but it gave her a black screen. I think she's gonna try again. But I would say coaching is more of like a guidance process, right? So it's like more of, we see what the problem is, and then it's more of like, here's the specific path that you take. Here's the next step, like more of like a whole guided program. Whereas in order to even get to the point of doing that with therapy, you have to go deep and really fully understand like all the whole dynamics, the whole picture, the all the moving pieces. And then we're also looking at like mental health stuff, like to make sure there isn't any issues related to like depression or anxiety or like any of those other things that we might need to treat or we might need to even talk about and bring to the surface to help the partner understand like what it is that's going on and why their significant other is responding that way. And for singles, sometimes going deep dive to understand like why certain things are triggering them the way that they're triggering them, like, you know, and contributing to the anxiety that's causing them to have problems, and, you know, with even like deciding that they can.
Uh-oh. I don't know what happened. Oh, there she is. Oh.
So one
Playing
came
Figure
in and
Around
then
the
the other
Rosie.
one's out. Oh no. And now they're both frozen.
Technology, man.
Technology. We try the best we can with what we have. So how about oh wait.
There she is. So Kia was talking about the coaching and the difference between the coaching and the therapy. And this is Carol Ann. So Carol Ann, you want to introduce yourself?
I'm making sure that it works. Hold on. Am I on for real, full force?
Yeah,
I'm Carol Ann. I'm one of the relationship boosters, also a licensed therapist. But I can't believe it just kicked Kia out. I'm so sorry.
It's okay. I'm sure I didn't even expect to get all three of y'all. I'm just happy to get three of y'all. If I was gonna be happy with one, I got all three relationship boosters.
We're playing tag team. There she is.
No, I feel like she's in the middle. Okay.
But what just happened to Carol Ann? Because she was talking and then it deleted.
Let's see what happens now.
Y'all, we on Allison's live, just cutting up. I just can't. Right?
It's okay. It's all right. We're gonna make it work. Hopefully she'll X out and she'll come back in.
Yes.
Okay.
All right. And then so now we have an idea of the difference, right? What I like to tell people, and you guys let me know if I'm accurate in this regard. So what I like to tell people is that therapy is gonna work on the deep rooted issues so that you can get some resolutions in your present. Therapy is going to take you, coaching is going to take you from your present and then plan out for your future. But the deep-seated issues need to be resolved first. We have to make sure that the roots are planted correctly first before we can even get to the future, because you're still in the past and we haven't resolved those problems.
That's one way to look at it, definitely. Yeah, definitely. And then with therapy, a lot of times people will tell us they don't want to talk about childhood, or they don't want to talk about, past relationships. They want to focus in on what's going on right now. But the reality is there are times where we just kind of have to take a step back, and especially like I think in situations where maybe there was a cheating, infidelity. It is important to go back and kind of walk through what got you, to that point, what was going on in the relationship. And there are times we have to look at and help the couple see that maybe there are some triggers that they are experiencing in this current relationship that come from childhood or come from, past relationships. So yeah, definitely, I think that's a good point.
Okay, very good. So I know that you guys have an event every spring called Black Marriage Week. So can you tell me about what that event is, who it's for, and then we can get into why we're here today?
Yes.
So Black Marriage Week is for people who are interested in having healthy relationships. So if you want a toxic relationship, if you are complacent and you really don't want to move, it's not an event for you. But if you're somebody who wants to either maintain or build a healthy relationship, and it's for singles and couples, we will be talking about a lot of issues around communication, around dating, around self-love. We have a retreat option where we have the couples and singles come into a mansion to really do a deep dive, more of a coaching intensive type of situation. They'll get a meal prepared by a chef. We have a wine tasting coming through. We have sexologists coming on board to help people with intimacy, because understand that, in order to be able to even be in a sexual healthy relationship, you have to know how to sexually please yourself as well. So it's for both singles and couples. And then it's 2 days of events. We have a lot of speakers that are going to be coming through to train and teach on a lot of different related topics about healthy relationships. And then of course we're going to talk about Black people in relationships, because we know the importance of not leaving out, the factor that we are Black and we are in relationships with one another, and what kind of things might show up, what kind of myths are in place that we want to debunk, talk about, and all that kind of stuff. And then, of course, we have a wealth component where we're helping people to build like generational wealth and really start that conversation, because it's really essential for us, you know, as a community to be able to feel comfortable and knowing where we're going, knowing what we can do to fix our current situation, or even maintain or grow where we're at. So that's really what it's about. It's for people who want to have healthy relationships. So we're psyched about it. It's the end of March, March 25th through the 27th. So yeah, if you have a healthy relationship, it's definitely the place to be. It's gonna be in the DC area. So we love to see y'all there.
Good, good, good. So I know, and I've read all the posts in regards to this event, but I wanted to talk very specifically about divorcees. So it's Black Marriage Week, right? By title, you would think, all right, only married couples are invited. I know that's not the case. You just described that's not the case. So with your divorcees, either at the event or in your practice, can any of you share what are some of the struggles that they share that's exclusive for divorcees? What are some of their issues? What are some of their fears? Like, what's something that's exclusive to that group?
I would say,
go ahead.
I would say one of the things that comes up often in some of my work with people that are either going through a divorce or have
I'm sorry,
had a
Monica, to
divorce.
interrupt you. There's some really bad feedback. Does anybody know who the source is?
Not sure. Can you still hear it?
Let me see. Yeah, I still have Dr. Kia, who's frozen. I hear her voice, but don't see her face.
Oh, you can't see me?
Mm-mm. We heard you loud and clear.
I can see Pia, and I can see Caroline. That's
okay, just
interesting.
frozen for me. All right, so if it's just frozen for me, I'm not gonna complain. So go ahead, Monica.
Well, so I'll touch on one thing that I noticed, and I hear the feedback, it's an echo. But is that fear of like failure. So that fear that I have failed in this marriage, I am to blame. I am not lovable because I failed this marriage, is brought in. It's a message that a person brings into a new relationship, a new potential dating relationship. And that can cause people to get frozen in time. So they get frozen in that past relationship, they get frozen in that experience, and then they are taking that unconsciously. You know, they may be unaware of it, they may be aware of it, but it's very difficult for them to go into a new relationship feeling open, feeling like they can just, you know, be successful in this new relationship because they haven't dealt with that fear of failure.
Okay, so then it's fair to say that the biggest issue that divorcees face is the fact that they are afraid to get involved again, to be married again, because obviously they, in their opinion, they failed so terribly that they had to become divorced. So then how can they put themselves out there again to start dating again, to potentially walk down the aisle again?
Yeah, that's one issue that I have noticed, particularly with men. That's something that I've heard time and time again, is that I failed. I'm afraid to do it again because I don't want to fail again. And so that causes them to get stuck in this, well, I don't think I should commit. You know, maybe I should just hold off on marriage. Maybe marriage isn't for me. So then there's all these other messages that they start telling themselves, like, I should just be single because I don't want to, you know. It's very hard to go through a divorce. It's very stressful. And like Carolyn was saying before we were coming on here, it's not something people go into a marriage saying like, oh, well, I'll just get divorced, you know. And so when it happens, it can be very traumatic, I think.
Any of the other ladies you want to share about some of the specific or exclusive fears or concerns that divorcees have?
You want
Sure. So some of the people that I encounter are experiencing not just fear, going through that sense like they failed at something, but also worried about their picker for the next time, right? Like, I didn't do so well choosing this time. I thought I knew what I want or what I was getting. I thought, but maybe I'm not a good judge of my partner for myself. So they're usually going through like a self rediscovery process as well, kind of as they're coming out of that, trying to figure out what is it that really went on that even led to that, but how do they see themselves now? So just this whole kind of looking at themselves or re-looking at themselves now, minus this relationship that was built in and woven into their entire life, you know?
Mm-hmm.
But and then with this, is this new person gonna have a better picker? You
Right.
know?
And that's reasonable, right? That's reasonable to think that I did everything I was supposed to do. I got married, I bought a house, I had a baby, like I did everything that society tells me to do and it didn't work. Something's wrong with me. Clearly, I'm a poor judge of character. Clearly, something is wrong with me that I wasn't able to figure out that this wasn't going to work in advance. So, how do you combat that? Because those are two reasonable lines of thinking. I failed before, I don't want to fail again. I picked wrong before, I don't want to pick wrong again. So then as mental health professionals, how do you combat something that is relatively reasonable, like a reasonable line of thinking?
Yeah, I would say in my situation, so I'm married, my husband is a divorcee, and he struggled with that. And so not only just working with people who have gone through it, I've lived it, experienced it from the dating part, from the dating through the commitment through then, do we actually, want to do this? And so with him, it was just a lot of support. I've never been married before, like he's my first marriage. And so, but I also had come from a step parent child, upbringing.
Mm-hmm.
So it's just a lot of kind of like, asking the tough questions, and getting him to see that, yeah, there were some things that he probably did wrong. There were things that she probably did wrong.
Mm-hmm.
But, are you truly healed and ready to move forward with your life? Because you don't have to stay stuck in this, mindset or this negativity and putting yourself down when you can really, move into something great and try again. People do have second marriages that, last. And so it's just building that hope up, but also supporting him through his process. Because, he wasn't fully, they had been divorced, I would say 4 years before we started dating.
Mm-hmm.
And clearly that's still not enough time for some people, because like that trauma, it takes time to heal through that. But if you do that work and you're willing to be honest with yourself, and your partner with where you're at emotionally with that, then, there's hope.
Okay. Dr. Kia, what about you? When you're working with clients, how do you combat the idea of, well, clearly I couldn't pick right the first time, so how do I know I'm going to pick right the next time? I lost all this money. I lost all this prestige. I lost contact with my children because of this divorce. I don't want to risk this again. How do you combat that?
One of the things that we talk about is helping people to acknowledge where their power is. And that also comes for being like looking at accountability of like making sure that I'm aware of some of the things that didn't work for me and why they didn't work for me. And I'm also aware of what things are not my fault and don't have nothing to do with me. So that I can now maybe just like sit and relearn myself, kind of like feel comfortable with who I am, build my confidence, start feeling good. And then also, just really taking the lessons from the past and moving forward with them. So not discarding them like the whole situation is like, garbage, but it's like, okay, maybe it didn't work out the way that I wanted it to. But what were the things that I learned about myself in that process? And what are the things that I learned that I need to do differently? What are the things that I learned that I did great, So it's really about building that confidence again so you can feel comfortable with even making sure that, you're picking a person who's going to be good for you this go round. Making sure that you're filtering it through your own life. Like you're taking into consideration yourself, who you are, your life, what you need, what you value, and all that kind of stuff while moving forward. So some of that is like self-discovery process, and some of that's also pulling from the past. So that's what I would say the major thing that we do, like moving forward with, people who have been divorced and people who are skeptical who might need to feel like to get into their skin and feel more comfortable with even putting themselves out there again, because of course that's a huge heartbreak, and many people don't want to be heartbroken again. So it's like easier to just to stay still than move forward, even if they want to move forward. So it's about recognizing that, you know, of course I can't change other people. They're going to be who they are, and I need to show up who I am so that I can be more clear about what my needs are. And it's easier to figure out who works and who doesn't work.
Makes sense. Makes sense. Go ahead.
Can I piggyback off of that just a little bit? I think that the other part to that goes along with the building up of the self-confidence again, is also forgiveness and the letting go process, right? And forgiving themselves, because if you're sitting there and you're talking to yourself negatively about all these things that happened and all these things that you did wrong, and you know how you weren't a good judge of character, and you know as you're learning and relearning yourself, you also have to kind of forgive that younger self that was working off of the information that they had at the time.
Right.
You didn't know what you didn't know, right? Now you're about to learn something new, and to go into what Kia was saying is, now as you're rediscovering yourself and you're starting to really pinpoint the things that you like, the things that you don't like. Now you use that information from the past, you bring it forward into the new relationships, and forgive yourself for not recognizing, like, you know, what you liked back then, or
Right.
that time was just a different time.
Yep.
Right. And then start talking to yourself differently. Don't sit in those thoughts of all the wrongdoings or all the bad things. Really find what worked for you, or what was helpful, or what was the lesson, so that you can empower yourself to move forward with, you know, knowledge and confidence, not just sit in the sadness of it.
Right, right. Well said. And that's actually the approach I take very specifically, is that you're not the same person you were when you got married 8 years ago, 10 years ago, 20 years ago. So you have now an evolved version of yourself. You know so much. You're so much more wise than you were before. So absolutely your picker would have improved between then and now. And also, if you're in coaching or you're in therapy, then this is a part of the process of figuring out what you like, what you don't like, and what are some things about you that you could afford to work on, so that you can become a better version of yourself, which would then obviously increase your ability to assess, right, and decide and make better decisions. So that's great. I know that I said we were going to be 30 minutes, and I do want to respect your time, but we didn't touch single parenting. Do you guys have maybe 10 more minutes in you to talk about that? Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. So I wanted to know, in regards to the single parents, I get a lot of single parents, particularly single moms, who reach out to me and they ask me, how do I navigate dating as a single mother because of the complications of having a child? Just simply like just someone to watch the kid versus when do I introduce my child to someone new? So can you guys talk to me about what are some of the struggles that you've seen with your clients in regards to being a single parent and re-entering the dating scene?
Some of the things that I hear about, and this is from both men and women, is about feeling like they might not be wanted because they come with this extra, you know, like the extra luggage of children and the parent that they had the children with. So kind of really overcoming feeling, that feeling of possibly not being wanted or desired because of this extra stuff that they come along with. That's much of what I hear with that. The other thing, you mentioned like watching the kids, I would say is support, like talking to them about getting their support systems in place. And it depends on what kind of single parenting you were doing before. Like, are you coming out of the relationship with that child's other parent, and now you're navigating how to have this co-parenting plus building extra support to deal with single parenting? Or have you been single parenting all along and now you're realizing like you need more support in order to do the things that you want to do? But either way, it's like building a new community of support, so that you can get out there and kind of live your life.
Monica, you were going to say?
Well, I was just gonna. I think there's definitely a stigma attached with being a single parent. You don't hear a lot of good news about it in the news, or you don't hear people saying, "Oh, I'm just gonna, be a single mom." I mean, you may now, but because I think that there's a lot more opportunities and things for women and people in general to be able to have children. But with being a single parent, there's this, negative, I think, thing that people have, that they may think for themselves, like Caroline was saying. And so really working through that mindset, that may come with that around and building your confidence around, parenting and getting all of that straight first within you. So that whole self-love, all of that, encouraging yourself, being able to feel strong within yourself, and being a single parent is the first thing, because the kids are going to be kids, like, and the reason why I say that is because the kids are not the problem. It's really, a lot of times how the adults handle being parents. And so whether you have issues with your child's mother or father, or you're just not comfortable with the position or the role that you're in with being a single parent, you have to take some authority within that first, get that, straight, have that relationship with your child and have that confidence. And then you can then say, well, how do I bring someone else into the fold? How do I bring a new person into this situation? If all of that isn't taken care of, if you're not feeling confident, if there's no structure in place in your life in terms of your co-parenting or your parenting situation, then, when you bring someone else into that, it's going to feel chaotic.
Absolutely.
So I think the support system is definitely important. Feeling comfortable letting someone else watch your children. So a lot of times people don't feel comfortable, especially now, like with the pandemic, they don't want people watching their kids. So just there's a lot of different, things that go on when it comes to parenting. And just getting help with that, even if you have to get counseling around it, being a single parent, and build up your community, building up your resources is important so that you can feel comfortable dating someone.
Dr. Kia, any other difficulties that you find or complaints that you're hearing from your single parents about getting back onto the dating scene?
When to invite or when to let your child know about dating and all that kind of stuff. And one of the things that we talk about is access. How much access do you give people, 'cause your life is like it's a whole world, right? So how much access are you going to give to this person, and how much access, have they earned at this point based on the relationship status that you have with them? So it really has to go back to like self-evaluation, trying to figure out like, is it okay to move to the next stage with this person? And do I want to wait until I'm really sure about somebody? Because that's what, the thing that we recommend. Do you want to wait till you're really sure about someone before you introduce them to other people in your family and your life? Like, how about you decide whether they're even worth being a friend or whether they're even worth your time before you start inviting them into other aspects of your life? If you think about it like a house, are you going to leave your key to your home on the front steps and just let anybody just come up in there and walk all around and do whatever they want? And if the answer is no, that's how you need to treat your life as well. Your life is precious and special to you. And so whoever, and that means the people in your life, i.e. your children, need to be treated as such as well. So really trying to get to know people before you give them all parts of access to your life, and really knowing where they fit or if they fit in your life before you do so, I think is important.
So Dr. Kia, I get you. That's the advice that I offer as well. However, then I get some pushback, which I think is relatively reasonable, which is, well, then what if I wait and then by the time I do the introduction, my kid hates them? So now I'm attached to this person. I really like them, borderline love them. And then my kid and this person doesn't get along well. If that was the case, I should have introduced them early in case my kid didn't like them. I could have dismissed them, but now I'm emotionally invested. What do I do?
I mean, it's all about balance, because everything is there's stages to everything, right? So you need to make sure that the person is good before you even introduce them to your children. And then, depending on, and to be honest, during that process, you should have been talking about children and seeing how they interact with their kids or how they interact with children in general, what their thoughts are about that. And to be honest, on the flip side, some people's kids, they're not gonna like anybody you bring, period.
Yep.
Point
That's
blank.
what I was gonna say.
They could be like, be aligned with Jesus, and they'd be like, that's trash, because they are interfering with their life. So
Right.
it's about you also being aware of knowing your children, knowing how to introduce stuff so that it doesn't create a huge issue as well, and helping them to not feel like you're just prioritizing somebody else and neglecting them, so that there's no issues there. But it's all about having the conversations and understanding, if you have kids, how this person is going to interact with them based on their current interactions and how they show up in the world in general. So if you know that they acting crazy with kids out in the community, then you should know that your kids are not going to be special, that's the person's character. So be mindful of that.
Right. Okay. And then I have a final question before I let you lovely ladies go. And I'm going to start with Carolyn on this one. So in the same line of the single parent is dating, they've introduced this person into their life. Let's say they're remarried or they're back together or together, not back together, living in the home. Where do parents draw the line of parenting, discipline, how much involvement this now step parent has with their child? I'm sure you've had conflicts with this before, right? So like, where do single parents draw the line once they are in a full-fledged relationship with someone on what, if any, parenting this person is allowed to do? We'll start with Carolyn.
Okay, so here's where I'm going to start with that. If this is somebody that you've decided, okay, we're definitely in this committed relationship, we are on the way to marriage and all that sort of stuff, the kids or the child needs to see that you guys are a united front. Kids can be very, very good at splitting. That's what their regular parents. Right? They're good. They can be very good at that, to kind of just, I want to say manipulate, but that's kind of what's really happening.
That's the word we're all thinking. You're just being nice.
So for the two of you, and one of you is not the biological parent, it's really going to take a whole lot of communication for y'all to talk about and sit down with each other first. What is going to be allowed, what is not going to be allowed, right? And then that might even need to be discussed with the outside parent so they understand what's going on, so that, said child doesn't then go back and say something happened that might not have happened, right? But so that they understand what the rules are in the household. But first of all, the two of you need to sit down and discuss how you want to handle the parenting and the discipline for all of the children that's involved. And you got to really try not to have I'm going to say favorites. Like if the other person's child or children come over, they can't be getting treated too differently from the ones that are in the house, right? Like, so you have to have conversations to talk across the board as to what it's going to look like so that y'all are a united front. And so the kids understand, he or she's going to talk to the other one. So let me not try to play this game.
Right.
I was just going to add, we have a whole blended family component of Black Marriage Week this year too. So this issue will definitely come up. I was going to ask you, Alison, do you see people with blended families as well, and like how they navigate that? Like what is it that you've been seeing?
So for me as the dating coach, I don't. My folks are not together. They don't have a partner to have the blended family.
But I mean, like that whole conversation, like if they're a single parent and they're going into...
Oh, yes. They're concerned. They're concerned about whether or not their kid is going to like the new person who comes into the home. They're nervous about how they draw those boundaries. And I'll be honest with you, and I'll be frank with you, because I always am. I say we need to land the man first, because that's my job, right? Like, my job is helping you find a person who is an appropriate match for you with your goals, your desires, and your morals, right? Then we can, like, you're worrying about and creating a whole catastrophe for something that doesn't exist just yet. Like, let's get you back through the dating scene in a healthy way. Then we could worry about what if my kid doesn't like him, and then what if my kid. So for me, I don't even take that on. that's for y'all. So there's steps in this process, right? there's but no, but there really are. Like I go to somebody to change my oil. I go to somebody else to do the computer update. I go to somebody to do my hair. Somebody, like, what my responsibilities are is I get y'all couples with an appropriate match. But then if there's difficulties in the marriage per se, right, then I'm gonna hand them off to y'all. And then perhaps there may be something else that becomes complicated that's not in your line of work and that you pass them to somebody else. Like, each of us have a responsibility in this space. So for me, my issue is, let's get you prepared to date and learn how to navigate the dating scene again. Let's undo some of those limiting and negative thoughts and beliefs that you have, that you're not worthy, you're not beautiful enough, you're not handsome enough, you don't have enough money, Black men don't marry Black women. Like, we have to undo all those limiting beliefs and get you through the scene. Now, once you're married, relationship boosters. We all got a role to play here. Come on now. Yep. So I know we kind of got.
Yeah, we have to all work together. That's why we are all about community.
Yeah, all about community. So I want to respect your time. Thank you for staying overtime with me. So I just wanted to give 1, 2, or 3 of you the chance just to wrap up who you are and what you have available, especially with Black Marriage Week, because that is so key.
Kia, go.
What? So the biggest thing we have coming up is Black Marriage Week. So thank you, Alison, for plugging it. I appreciate you for that. And it's basically an event for singles and couples who are interested in building healthy relationships. So we'll have all the things to help you with the strategies, the tips, and all that great stuff, with being able to have good communication, with being able to build intimacy, with being able to date, with being able to make sure that you are not getting to be just roommates with your significant other once you build it. So we have a lot of different topics that will help you to not only, like, from the ground up, build it and maintain it. That's what it's about. So, and we have an elite option. We have the mansion experience, where we're doing coaching, and we're going to be helping people to be able to communicate effectively with conflict management, like walking you through exactly what to do. Because, we can tell you what to do, but a lot of people need that hand-on guidance, especially with like specific issues. So we're going to be doing that for all the people who are in the elite version of Black Marriage Week. So we can't wait to see y'all there. It's at blackmarriageweek.com. You can get your tickets. So yeah, it's gonna be lit. It's gonna be off the chain, y'all, for real.
That's all I got. That's a lot right there. That's all I got. I'm going along with ditto to what Kia said.
Same thing, Monica. Ditto.
Yeah, I just, when we first started doing this event, it has really evolved. So like the stuff that we're doing now is like big versus when we first started out. And so, but it's always been this idea of like, these conversations are not really being, like, we don't know where to go to have these conversations with people, about finances, building wealth, getting married, and what that looks like in a community, and how to have healthy relationships, and being able to come together with other couples who are healthy, and enjoying time with them. So we were really intentional about, one, building this community of couples and singles and people in the Black community that are, coming together, enjoying one another, doing events, and enjoying their time together, having fun, but also having those conversations in this safe space where, you feel comfortable talking about, and even with entrepreneurship, businesses. So we have a lot of things that we're doing with people to help them come to a space where they can have these conversations, get empowered, get the education, get the tools necessary to literally have a good life.
Yep.
And I know Alison has a lot of singles, so I just want to add the importance of singles being able to even connect with married couples, because that actually helps as well, for them to be able to see how, couples navigate, so that they know what number one, they see that it's possible, because I think you touched on that before, Alison, where people are like, oh, it's not possible. They see it's possible. And number two, they see the real life, like, interactions that people have, as opposed to just like, the Disney stuff that bet they're going to show you on the TV. So
Right.
you get to see a lot more balance when you're able to mingle in that space. So that's why it's important for us to merge those, communities with this event.
Yes,
Yeah.
absolutely. Well said, ladies. And just so you know, in case you don't have all your speakers, I would love to come down and speak
Well,
to your
we
single
like you,
folks.
so
Let's talk
look.
about dating as a parent, dating as a divorcee, dating as someone who felt as though you weren't worthy or valued or it's never going to happen for you. And we need to start to undo those myths because they're absolute lies. This idea that
Yes.
Black men don't value Black women, don't love Black women, don't marry Black women. Those are all lies. So if you're
Yeah.
interested, this is my public pitch to you. I'd love to come down.
Aw. Wow, thank you.
Yes, yes,
We
yes.
got it. We appreciate
Of
it.
course,
Yes.
anytime. All right, ladies, I'll let you go. Thank you so much for joining us and dropping these
Thank
gems.
you.
And have a wonderful weekend.
All right,
You
you
too.
too.
Thank you. You too.
Have a good one. Bye.
Bye-bye.
Bye.